Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Impact Review for the 28th of October 2021. Not exactly a great show. Post Bound for Glory. I guess they're trying, but anyway. The BTI matches VSK with Brian Myers and Ziggy Dice defeating Sam Beal. After the match, Learning Tree attacks Beal till Rich Swann and Willie Mack make the save. Opening video, full recap, Bound for Glory, featuring title matches and all of that stuff. Lots of changes. New Impact World Champion Moose comes out. He opens the show. Moose captured the title after cashing in his Call Your Shot win and defeating Josh Alexander in the Bound for Glory main event. Before Moose could even talk, Eddie Edwards runs down with a kendo stick and tries to attack Moose. They brawled on the ramp until security runs down to break up the fight. Security takes Edwards away from Moose, returning to the ring. He once again takes the microphone and acknowledged that all the bad things he had to do to finally win the Impact Championship. He said that at he had no sympathy for the men left behind because now he held the title. Moose takes shots at many champions around the industry as he considers himself the greatest champion of them all. He finished sending a message to the locker room, but then Josh Alexander comes through the crowd and suplexes Moose. This time around, Moose runs off, and Alexander takes control of the ring. Minoru Suzuki, of all people, comes out and confronts Josh Alexander. Both men get into a strike exchange, and Alexander disrespects Suzuki by focusing on Moose. Security comes out and again breaks up the fight. Alexander ended up busted open from the short brawl backstage. GM Miller asked Moose if he's prepared to take on all comers now that he's the champion. Moose said that if there's no one man who could handle the pressure other than him. Matt Cardona confronted Moose about being a runner-up in the Call Your Shot match and said that he's got a ready to fight with Moose. Security breaks things down and breaks it up quicker. This is just honestly very goofy. Trey Miguel defeats Rocky Romero to retain the title. Romero appears in a Call Your Shot match, entering at number 2. He challenged Trey Miguel to a match, and on social media, match starts with a series of counters and reversals. Pretty decent stuff, lightweight stuff. There's some sneaky style thrown in by Romero, and Miguel gains momentum after dropping Romero on the apron. Miguel counters with a moonsault to the floor after blocking some of his offense. Back in the ring, Romano cuts off Miguel, targets his arm, and Romano drop kicks Miguel to the floor, with Miguel trying to do the spider Tay feint kick on the ropes, and then Romero goes for the armbar, but Miguel counters into a powerbomb to finally stop his control. Both men try strikes, but in the end, Miguel gets the upper hand and hits a pretty intense maneuver, and then Romano hits the forever clothesline, but the last one reversed into a brainbuster. Miguel follows up with another Meteora, getting the win. Obviously, it's a showcase for the new X Division champion. Post-match, Steve McLean jumps Miguel to hit the crosshair, leaving him laying. Miller interviews Jordana Grace about what being the digital media champion means to her. Grace said that she is hoping to be one to give the title meaning and purpose. Tasha Steelz goes after Savannah Evans and interrupts them to make fun of Ellering for being eliminated in the Call Your Shot gauntlet. Ellering then brought up Steelz was the one again trying to talk smack and cause problems, so instead told her to bring whatever she had to the ring. Backstage, McLean cuts a promo addressing Trey Miguel about having the title, but not because he was beaten. Scott D'Amore confronts McLean, tells him he'd give him a title shot next week. Cardona and Eddie Edwards both went up to D'Amore asking for a shot at Moose. D'Amore tells them that they and Alexander for now will be a tag team to take on Moose and two partners. Suddenly, D'Amore saw Alexander beating up the referee, who endangered Alexander's family from starting a match with them inside the ring. D'Amore calms Alexander down, tells him about next week's match against Moose, and told him to control his emotions because it's a matter of time. He goes after the title and won't get there by beating up referees. Rachel Ellering with Jordana Grace defeats Tasha Steelz with Savannah Evans. Match starts with Ellering in control, using a bunch of power, and goes over Steelz from corner to corner, blocks the code breaker and slams Steelz, and then sends her out of the ring. Steelz snaps Ellering's neck on the ropes. In the meantime, Steelz now has a little bit of momentum, works over Ellering for some time, but eventually Ellering makes a comeback and strikes her way back into the match. Match ends with a barrel roll from Ellering that didn't look that smooth. Match is fine, but certainly nothing to write home about. W. Morrissey cuts a promo about his alliance with Moose and how Moose betrayed him after the alliance wasn't convenient. Morrissey then says that it was perfect since Moose is now the champion and he has his eyes on the title. Moose approaches Morrissey and told him that he simply acted before Morrissey would have offered a shot at the title, and he helped him take out Alexander Edwards and Kanemaru. Gia Miller introduced the Inspiration and said that they looked to inspire the Knockouts division, but never actually answered Miller's questions. Some people like this. I don't. It's campy and somewhat useless. Joe Doring with Violent by Design fights Heath Slater with Rhino, ends in a no contest. Rhino and Heath finally reunited, bound for glory. Doring controls the match early, and Heath keeps trying to get offense on Doring. Ladder overpowers and cuts him off to any attempt, and at one point Heath manages to dodge Doring running elbow and gets him off his feet with a jump kick before he could continue the attack. Diener then trips Heath. Rhino attacks Diener, and the brawl spills into the ring, at which point the referee throws out the match. After the match, Eric Young joins, and he pretends to still be injured, but ends up attacking Rhino from behind. He drops Rhino with a falling elbow and a piledriver on Heath. Violent by Design controls the ring at the end. Good Brothers cut a promo about being Tag Team of the Year and Bookers of the Year, and then set up Finjuice and the Bullet Club as contenders, and they still defeated them. Finjuice confronts Anderson and Gallows about having the match won. When they snuck in for the pin, Finjuice brings up that they've never been beaten by Anderson and Gallows, who rejected their title challenge and told Finjuice they needed to earn a shot. Then we go to Gia Miller interviewing the Demon about returning to wrestling at the Call Your Shot Battle Royal. Before he could answer, Johnny Swinger interrupts and said that the Demon was only there to make a bad year worse. He complained about everything and said that his kind wasn't welcomed, and by that he meant demons. Decay backed him up and then run Swinger away. Demon said he was on Impact because demons were welcome. Swinger versus the Demon is coming very soon. New Knockouts champion Mickie James comes down to the ring. James talks about the excitement of being back and being the Knockouts champion. She put over Deonna Purrazzo, saying that she was one of her biggest matches in her career. She said that she was waiting for Purrazzo to come back for a rematch, but Purrazzo was nowhere to be found. James welcomed anyone who wants to challenge. Out comes Madison Rayne and Caleb. Rayne says that when it came to Pillars of the Impact, everyone always included James, along with women like Gail Kim and Kong, but Madison Rayne never got credit she deserved. She said that James always jumped around promotions, while Rayne has been supporting the Knockouts division for years. She ended up by challenging James to the title match next week. James accepts this. Caleb talked trash to James and earned himself a slap before the Influence retreated. Not a bad little mini angle here. Ace Austin with Madman Fulton defeats Chris Sabin. Sabin comes out with a new entrance theme. This is the main event, although it wasn't really hyped during the show. Both men are part of the Bound for Glory Call Your Shot match. Fulton surprise attack from behind that ended Sabin's run after the match and ended up entering in the first spot. Match is a great back and forth contest. Sabin keeps getting the better of Austin and manages to counter most of his offense, and at one point locks on a great looking surfboard. Sabin focusing on Austin's legs, which ended up becoming a problem for Austin, where he finally cut off Sabin. Austin mostly works over Sabin's arm and hand in addition to head and sets up the fold. He then gets a couple of 2 counts, but nothing really serious. After a couple of minutes of peril, Sabin makes a comeback and once again targets Austin's leg. Sabin then gets the first big near fall with a fisherman suplex, follows up with a cradle shock attempt, but Austin escapes both men, enters the match. After trading strikes and kicks, Austin then hits a jumping kick for a 2 count and sets up a fold, but Sabin counters and then hits cradle shock position. Austin escapes, but then takes a springboard DDT for a near fall. Sabin distracts himself with Fulton and manages to get a little bit of an advantage there. Sabin gets left open for the fold and a win for Austin. Still think Austin is the best thing this company has that's relatively homegrown, so I don't know why he's kind of in throwaway matches week by week, but hey, I'm not in charge of booking, so it is what it is. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.